All right, guys, I got another one for you this week. It is a Autotek, the SM-3600.1D, the street machine. Oh boy, here we go. Let's find out about this one. All right, let's get it unboxed. I have not unboxed it yet, I promise. It's been here for, I don't know, a week or so. I have not messed with it at all. Oh, look, even a little Autotek sticker. Okay. All right. Wiring diagram about series and parallel. Man, that is so handy these days. Golly. Those questions get asked a lot in the comments, and I don't blame you guys. When I got back into car audio after being out for several years, series and parallel and all that, dual voice coils and all of that wasn't so much of a thing back in the early to mid 90s. Started coming along there towards the late 90s with the dual voice coils, but the ohm loads is a big deal nowadays. All right, plastic base knob, smooth. Is that plastic? Actually, I believe that is metal in the middle and plastic on the ends. It does have a power light. There's the cable. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Golly, this thing's smaller than, golly, it's got some heft to it. To be as little as it is pretty small. Guys, fixing to check this out with you. Somebody left me a cool comment one week. They said they like it when I say stuff like, we're gonna look at it together and all that. I mean, I know that by the time you guys see the video, then I certainly have already seen it. But what I mean is, I'm doing this live, not live, but on camera. It's not like I looked at it already before I started recording. All right, man, little amp's got some weight. We're gonna have to find out why that is, but we'll tell you this, guys. I handle a lot of amplifiers these days, and for the size of this one, I mean, I'm not saying it's like ridiculous, but it's hefty for its size. That could mean it's got some nice guts. A lot of times it just turns out to be a heavy heat sink, but we'll have to find out about that. Okay, all right. Kind of a cool looking amp. What do y'all think about the colors there? The lime green, the light blue, the regular blue. All right, here we go. Another Maxsonics brand. So we got the old fork terminals here. Got the larger for the ground and the positive. We got the remote there in the middle. Only get one positive and negative for the speaker. Power and protect. Pretty simple so far. What about this end? All right, so there's the jack for your remote. Low pass, 40 to 300. Whatever you set that to, it's gonna play that frequency and lower. Subsonic is the same as a high pass. It's just that the frequencies on a subsonic are usually a lot lower, but whatever you set that to, it's gonna play that frequency and up. So, pretty cool stuff. Bass boost, we'll leave that off. And then the gain listed as level. And then your inputs. Yeah, channel 1A and channel 1B. I'm gonna have to check the manual out for that. I wonder if you're able to use one of these as an output. Not real sure, but that may just simply be left and a right input, but I'm gonna look at the manual a little bit and see why they've got that listed like it is. All right, and notice the color in there is just black for both instead of red and white. All right, and then the bottom, we do have a couple of stickers that we'll probably end up messing up. And what do we have here? All right, just some general stuff. Made in China, some warnings. Okay, so she is claiming 3,600. Boy, that's a small little amplifier for a 3,600. We already know it's probably going to be nowhere near that, but it could still be a decent deal, honestly, if the quality and the output and all that seems to be good. It may still be a good deal. What would we like to see out of this? At least 1,000. I'd like to see 1,500, to be honest, but if we could get 1,000 or 1,500 out of it, and guys, I have no idea what this is going to do. I haven't done any research. I don't know if anybody else has done this amplifier. I just thought it was cool that it was a little monoblock, Class D monoblock, rated to go to 1 ohm. Those are my favorite amps to mess with. Speaking of price, speaking of value, I'm going to put a link in the description, an Amazon affiliate link in the description. This amp currently, this morning, is $129.99, and if you're a Prime member, so that you get free shipping, you would end up paying $140.39 for this by the time you paid for tax. I say that depending on what state you're in, but it is $129.99 plus tax. If you're not a Prime member, it'd end up being tax and shipping. I do believe, but that's what she costs. How about I quit rambling and let's get it wired up. Do y'all notice that every week now I cut back in right here at this point because I forget to show some stuff. So we do have some ratings on the back of the box right here that I didn't notice until just a second ago. So over here is English output, 4, 2, and 1. And then we have to come all the way over. So they're saying 900 at 4, 1,800 at 2, 3,600 at 1 ohm. So anyhow, I'm going to check the manual as well and see if it says anything different. I'll let you know. All right, let's get on with it. All right, no extra ratings in the manual. It's a simple one-page manual. But this is kind of cool. So the here's the Street Machine series, all the different models. Some 1 channels, 2 channels, 2 channels, and 2 4 channels. That top 1 channel is probably a Class AB. See how the others are listed as a D? So we got the one there in the middle, the 3,600. It does call for a 4-gauge wire. They all call for 4-gauge. And an external fuse of 150 amps. This amp does not have any fusing on the amp, but 150 amp external fuse. Wow, that sounds promising that we're going to see at least 1,000 watts out of this amp. I hope we see more than that. But all right. Let's get to it. All right, I hate to keep breaking in here, but I got to address something. This calls in their manual. Y'all saw where it called for 4-gauge. Autotek, are you kidding me? You're going to give us fork terminals and then call for a 4-gauge wire? All right, let me just show you what that looks like. Here is a 4-gauge OFC. Boy, it doesn't come through on camera as much as it does in person. This wire is massive compared to what's supposed to be in here. Okay, look, just it nearly takes up the whole. So I've got some of these. This basically gives you, it's 4-gauge, and these are kind of hard to find, actually. These are not like readily available and easy to get and all of that, but it won't even fit in here. So Autotek, if you're going to call for a 4-gauge, honestly, if you're going to call for an 8-gauge or bigger, you got to have screw down terminals. This amp desperately needs screw down terminals because of this. So if this amp ends up doing decent power, you know, 1,000 or 1,500 watts, then it definitely needs better than a 10 gauge wire. So we're going to be running, now this is 18 inches of sky high OFC 10 gauge, because typically 10 gauge is the largest wire that you will see with fork terminals, spade terminals, whatever you want to call them. Anything bigger than that, and you really need screw downs, unless you start, you know, having to look for weird extra things like this. So yeah, kind of surprising that they're calling for a 4 gauge and they give you those kind of terminals. So pretty ridiculous. I don't know. Just wanted to show you guys that. We're going to be fine here on the test bench today. This is 18 inches of 10 gauge OFC that is fed by double oversized zeros coming from a decent size, you know, lithium battery. But in a car, yeah. Anyhow, let's get back to it. All right, guys, this first test is the 4 ohm test, rated 900 watts according to the box. We're going to be starting off at 14.4 today. The reason being, I want to do some, you guys have requested several times, some lower voltage testing on the WA2K. And I need to get the voltage on my lithium down a little bit to do that. So it'll also be interesting. It's not easy to get your voltage, your resting voltage down on a decent sized lithium bank, because they just bounce back so well. But I do not have the charger hooked up at all. I'm not going to hook the charger up for any of these tests today on this amp. It'll just be running off of battery only. But at the end of all the testing, it'll be interesting to see what our voltage is at. I'd like to get down to like 13.8. I don't think that's going to happen. As far as final resting voltage, 13.8 is probably going to still be higher than that. But so yeah, starting off at 14.4, it's going to hold and flash at anything that it drops below 14.4. We're going to capture the current. Also, check out the lights on this amp. Pretty cool. This right here lights up. Let me turn it off and back on. All right, pretty neat. All right, so here we go. 40 hertz. This amp is a Class D monoblock made for subwoofers. So don't buy this for your door speakers. So all the testing will be done at 40 hertz. Here we go. Rated 900 at 4 ohms. What's it gonna do? $400 exactly. The voltage dropped to 14.3 and the current draw was 46.3. All right, cool. All right, let's do the 2 ohm test. All right, 2 ohms, starting off at 14.4 again. And yes, 1800 is what this one is rated. I'm probably going to hold off on the dynamic test, do 1 ohm dynamic. All right, here we go. Rated 1800, 40 hertz, 2 ohms. What's it going to do? 632. The voltage dropped to 14.3, and the current draw was 79.5. So it looks like we are going to end up seeing some okay power out of this amp. But I don't know. Let's see. All right, let's move on to the 1 ohm. Here we go. 1 ohm rated 3,600. We're falling way short on the other tests, so we know we're not going to see anywhere near 3,600. But I'd like to see over 1,000. Let's find out. 40 hertz, 1 ohm, rated 3,600, but it actually does, 879. The voltage dropped to 14.1, and the current pull was 130.2. Golly. All right, let's talk about that for a second. That's falling way short. I was hoping that the 1 ohm would double the 2 ohm. It did not. Also, you guys are going to point this out because y'all are good at catching this. 130 amps through a 10 gauge wire. That wire is going to become your fuse. If you were to have a long run, I can do it right here on the test bench because it's a little short run that's fed by some very stout electrical. But they got an issue here with their terminals and the current. So I don't know. Let's do 1 ohm. Our DD1 there timed out. That means this one's about to time out too. But let's do 1 ohm dynamic. Here we go. 1 ohm dynamic. Is it gonna beat that? Okay. All right, it does have some dynamic headroom. 1271. Yeah, so you know, in your vehicle, the truth is this is gonna seem like a pretty stout little amp because it is okay, to be honest. But with being able to get that kind of power, dynamic, you know, somebody would probably feel like they had a really stout amplifier if they didn't know any better. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, with what this amp costs, there's so much better options on the market. But let's hook it up. Let's see what it does on a couple of subwoofers at 1 ohm. All right, guys, here we go. On music, we're still sitting at 14.4, by the way. It hasn't gone down any, and I've been playing music on this thing for a few minutes. So I haven't turned it up yet, though, to be honest. I was playing very low wattage, but I have had it running for a few minutes. All right, let's get to it. Here we go. The Scars up on top. Here we go. Wow, I hate that long pause in the bass in the middle of that song. But it sounded good. 1069, you know, and y'all saw it actually pushed those 2 Scar 12s pretty well. It sounded good too. Yeah, so it's not a bad amp. We've seen way worse, but we've also seen better for the money. Yeah, I'm going to have a link in the description anyway. But, you know, just being up front with you, be smart with your money. There's some good options out there today. Be different if we were talking about that this thing was 80 bucks, 90 bucks, you know, maybe 100, but it's not. This thing's $140 is what it would cost you to your door. So anyhow, all right, let's get it back over there. Let's take the back plate off of it. Look at the guts. All right, guys, it's the gut shot. What do we get? 3, 2, 1. All right, not too bad, honestly. I see some pretty healthy looking guts in there. I do think the majority of that weight, though, is a pretty beefy, pretty thick. This is a thick heat sink. That's going to be where the majority of that weight comes from. But here's what you get. There's what you get. I believe all 4 of those are the same. What about these? Y'all let me know what you see in here. Check out them fuses. How about 3 35 amp fuses inside the amp? How about that? That's interesting. Guys, for me, this one, I just need some bigger terminals, and I need a little more power out of it to feel real good about it. It's not like a super terrible amp like some of them we've seen. It's just that I'd like to see it a little bit better. Check out my affiliate link. I don't know if y'all know this or not. I didn't know until recently. I'll put a link for this in there. If you want to buy anything from Amazon, feel free to use my link for this. The way that it's structured is if you go to Amazon off of somebody's link and you end up buying something from Amazon, not even amplifier, it could be anything off of Amazon. The Amazon associate that had that link gets the commission off of whatever you buy. And I can't remember, is it 24 hours or 12 hours or something? But if you end up going to somebody's Amazon link, I think it's just good for y'all to know that in general, because I never did. And you wind up buying something, anything at all, they will get a commission from that. So, anyhow, all right, let's quit talking so much and let's fill the card out. All right, guys, it was cool to check this amp out this week to see what it does. So I'm gonna give it that uncertified rating. It did 879 at that was 40 hertz, 1 ohm, uncertified. Not too bad, but not too great either. Guys, I'm looking at my voltage on the bench. It's still sitting at 14.4. Probably gonna have to hook up my inverter and a heat gun to get that down a little bit more. But thank y'all so much for the support. Check out the link in the description, and I'll see you next time.